Despite the fact that the weather is absolutely gorgeous this morning, it's still a Monday. And that fact was quite evident by the look on June and Chivy's face this morning when I came downstairs. Chivy was relatively coherent, but June, not so much. So last night when Billy and I were out screwing around in the shop, we decided to take the Mustang into Newark for a little drive to see a buddy of mine, only it didn't make it. It fouled to spark plugs before we left the driveway. So that's the first thing on my agenda for today, is to get some spark plugs put in that Mustang and try to do something with this carburetor to keep it from fouling the spark plugs. Kenny's here this morning and he's going to start helping me clean the shop up and get all the tools put away from all this wiring we've been doing. And eventually I'm going to stop down to Jeremy's and check on him, because I know he's been working on that 64, but I'm not sure how much progress he's actually made. He's supposed to go to Mark's first thing this morning and get AC lines crimped. So I figure when I go down to get spark plugs for Billy's Mustang, I'll check in with Mark and see if he's been there.
Get in. Come on. Come on, baby. Come on, girl. Get in the Malibu. Come on, Scrap.
One single nitrous hit with Scrappy in the back seat was all it took to make sure that she never rides in that car again. June Pup, however, is ride or die. She goes with me regardless what I'm driving or where we're going. So that means that Scrappy's going to miss out on dog treats this morning down at Mark's at A1. So I'll have to pick up some chicken fries to make up for it. Have you seen anything of my brother?
I have seen nothing. I've been waiting on him.
He told me he was going to be here first thing this morning to get air conditioning lines crimped for that truck.
No, he'll show up about 6.
Right before closing.
Exactly. I'm sure that's what's going to happen.
That's about par for the course with him.
It is. So you're going to clean me out.
I got no choice.
Well, I mean...
That boy of mine keeps screwing around with that Ford. So far, Jeremy's MIA, but at least I got my spark plugs this morning from Mark, and we stopped and got chicken fries for the dogs on the way home. And that brings us to the Jelly Fiasco.
Well. What do I owe the pleasure to? What's she eating?
The leftover pizza from Saturday.
Damn it!
I told Paige about the Jelly Fiasco.
It's pretty good stuff, isn't it?
I tricked you.
It was terrible.
Oh,
It was-
whatever.
I prefer just to ignore the jelly situation and feed the dogs their chicken fries, but Vicky, no, she's not going to let it go.
Can I tell everybody about the Jelly Fiasco?
Sure, why not?
So I make you a big breakfast sundae, bacon and eggs, and a side of toast, and you ask me for the jelly to go with your toast. I'm like, okay. I get in the fridge, and we're out of your normal
Welch's grape jelly.
Welch's grape jelly. What you've eaten your whole life, I'm out of it. But Paige and Jim had a homemade jar of jelly.
And it wasn't grape.
It was blackberry. It's homemade. You take one look at it, and you just shove it aside. You're not even gonna try it. So, today, you come down, you pour a bowl of cereal, you take one bite, it's stale. Because you didn't roll the bag down.
Can we fast forward through all this?
So I offered you toast. I bring you toast already with the jelly on it, and you ate every bit of it. So I waited about an hour, and I said, how was your toast this morning? It was good. Guess what? It was Paige's jelly.
It was terrible.
It's the only jar I spit in.
So on to more important things, namely the fact that the Mustang is fouling spark plugs. I had Kenny put a brand new set of plugs in the car, and I set the idle mixture screws so lean that it would barely run. In fact, it died at the very first stop sign I stopped at. I fire the car back up and decide to take my test drive down to visit Uncle Bucko and see how much progress he's actually made on the 64.
None of those parking in my driveway.
What do you mean?
Blue oval crap parks out on the street.
It's your nephew.
No, it's your son.
Don't remind me.
So Jeremy's been working on the 64 on and off all weekend, in between trips up to the farm to help Mom and Dad. Now I know Jeremy's been busy, but he did promise me that he would have the AC lines crimped and installed by Monday morning. It's now Monday afternoon.
I went down there to see Mark this morning. He said he hasn't seen hide nor hair out of you.
Yeah, he called me and told me you were me.
You can't say that.
I just did.
You dumb. Like,
You gotta mute it.
well, when you going to get this done?
Hopefully by the end of the day.
By the end of today?
We'll at least have the lines made so I can vac it over.
Oh, here comes the excuses.
I'm gonna vac it overnight and make sure it holds all the way through the night, and then tomorrow morning I'll charge it.
Oh, so it's not going to be done till tomorrow.
Well, the assembly process will be done today. The diagnostics and checking for leaks and everything else. You realize there's a lot of lines, a lot of O-rings.
I've known Jeremy my entire life, and I know damn well we'll be doing good to have that truck done by the end of the week. Anyway, I turned my attention back to the Mustang and working on this tuning issue with the carburetor or the ignition timing. Based on what the car is doing and my past experience with small block Fords, I'm betting that the car doesn't have enough timing in it. So as I'm pulling in the driveway, my first thought is, where's the distributor wrench? Until I noticed that Kenny and Rob were moving my Nova. I asked Kenny to pull it out front and use a power washer to get all this green crap off the car and get it cleaned up a little bit before winter. Now, I hadn't said anything to anybody, but Billy's engine in the S10 was headed for my Nova this winter until it blew up at Dragway 42 the other day. But regardless of what happens now, the car needed a bath and we can't hardly do it in the wintertime. So while Kenny's out there power washing the Nova, Uncle Robbie's hooking up my purge button for the purge solenoid in the Malibu. But to finish plumbing it, we needed a push lock fitting and some hose, which led me down to A1 Auto Parts for the second time today on my test drive to test the ignition timing out on the Mustang. And look who I found.
Be gone. I thought you weren't allowed to have June in here anymore because she bites people. Look, she's coming up to bite me right now.
I hope she does.
I'm gonna sue you.
Good.
Oh, God.
Half of nothing's nothing. You'll get half of it. Tommy was just down there picking up calipers, but he took the opportunity to talk a little smack. He wants to compare apples to oranges and race cars against my daily driver. What are you talking about? You're saying the Dart's going to be the fastest?
Billy admitted the other night he thinks the Dart will be the fastest. Here you are, you're power washing your Nova today, and you're all blocking it and this, that, and the other.
Whoa.
You're worried about somebody.
I'm not worried about anything.
Why are you putting your Nova back together with a...
Listen, you guys are just messing with my daily driver. If you want me to get my street car out, I'll get my street car out.
Dude, you literally made a post the other night saying you're gonna put a trans brake in that thing.
In the Malibu?
Yeah.
I didn't say I was. I said it's on my mind.
It won't be long before... You can daily a street car. Like...
On slicks and front runners, you're going to daily that. That's
have,
not a
you
daily.
have been.
No,
Oh,
my
sorry,
car
you're wrong.
has drag radials on the back and it has regular radial tires on the front. Tell him, thing one, tell him.
I ain't saying nothing.
You don't understand what a daily driver is. Your daily driver is that green pickup truck sitting out front. That's your daily. My daily is my Malibu. You want to race me with your daily?
No, I'm just saying, like...
No,
I don't
you
know what
want
your
to
argument
race
is.
my daily with a race car.
Okay, when you finish your Nova, you're gonna daily it too.
Listen, there's a difference between a daily driver that you can race and a race car that you can daily drive.
There's no arguing with you.
There's no winning. You can argue, you just can't win. After a lengthy discussion with young Thomas over the differences between a daily driver and a street car, I grabbed my stuff from Mark and head back to the shop. On the way back, I made a call into Jegs to Uncle Terry to order some parts for Billy's Mustang, and I got to check out Robbie's finishing touches on my purge kit. A little while later, Terry showed up after work and he dropped off a brand new MSD adjustable timing control box. Now what this is going to allow Billy to do is dial in the ignition timing with his draggy very quickly and efficiently out on the street. Plus, if he ends up in a bad lane or he needs a little bit more power, he can turn the ignition timing up or down as needed from the driver's seat. All it took was about 4 degrees of ignition timing to turn the Mustang from a drooling, plug-fouling, miserable pile of junk into something that's actually enjoyable to drive. Once we stopped and filled the car up with fuel, we took it out to make a test hit. You back, June?
Back. Not sure if somebody's coming or not.
Yep.
Feel bad for all of us in it. You didn't stumble.
Now, we didn't have a draggy in the Mustang with us tonight, but I can tell you that even with me and June riding in the car, it was the fastest motor hit that Mustang has ever made. All right, everybody, welcome back, welcome back. So today we went through a scenario that it's a very common scenario with nitrous cars, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a low compression engine like what Billy's got or like what I've got in the Malibu. This is a common problem with nitrous cars, and there's a lot of reasons why I really don't like to see people pull the ignition timing out all at once. The biggest reason is it fouls spark plugs, and that's a big problem on a nitrous engine. You really need to have fresh plugs in them, or at least the engine has to be able to cruise around and keep the plugs clean and not foul them. The other situation that you get into is you'll see a lot of cars that come up the starting line that are on nitrous, especially guys that are, you know, rock bottom budget guys that don't have nitrous controllers. Maybe they're using a Digiset, or they're just using 2 or 3 kits. They're just turning them on a button, or whatever the case may be. If they don't have the proper equipment to run nitrous, i.e. the proper ignition box, the proper nitrous controller, what tends to happen, and you see it a lot, is when the cars come up to the burnout box, they have trouble doing a burnout. A lot of times people have to jack them up or hold them up on the, hold up on the back of the car, try and take weight off the rear tires, because on motor, it's got so much timing pulled out of it, it won't hardly even do a burnout. Then they pull up to the ready line and they go to put it on the trans brake, and they put their foot on the floor, and the cars tend to blow the hood scoop off, or they'll catch fire or backfire and die. And then that starts a whole nother scenario that's very dangerous. And that is if the driver is not careful, if they're not educated in what they're doing. A lot of times these guys are spraying on a timer, and once you let go of the trans brake, that starts the timer. And if they're not using a wide open throttle switch, the timer doesn't know whether the engine is running, whether it's on, off, idling, or wide open throttle. It doesn't know. And a lot of times what will happen is the timer will turn the nitrous kit on while the engine's sitting there shut off, and the driver doesn't even realize it, can't hear it through their helmet. A lot of people standing around the car might be able to hear it, but sitting in the car with a helmet on, you might not be able to hear that the kit's spraying nitrous and fuel down the intake manifold with the engine off. A lot of times there's car going down the track, if the other car left and that noise is going on, or, the crowd's around yelling, you can't tell, you can't hear very well. And when they go to refire the car and the intake manifold's full of nitrous and gasoline, it'll blow the intake manifold right off the engine. It can catch fire. People can get hurt. It's just a bad situation. So if you are interested in running nitrous, you need to educate yourself. You need to learn what the do's and don'ts are. It's very important, because you can injure somebody, you can injure yourself, you can catch your car on fire, you can lose your car, you can lose your engine, you can lose everything if you don't know what you're doing. So today we learned that when you pull all that timing out, especially on a low compression pump gas engine like that, maybe 9-to-1 compression 302 in that Mustang, and you're trying to run high octane or pump gas, 92, 93 octane fuel in a low compression engine, obviously they need a lot of ignition timing, static or initial ignition timing, such as the case with Billy's Mustang. We locked the distributor out, so it has 32 or 34 degrees. As soon as the engine starts, it's got 32 or 34 degrees. But when you've got a situation where you're pulling all the timing out, and maybe you might not even need to pull timing, we'll get to that in a second. But if you're pulling all that timing out at once, it makes the engine run terrible, fat, blackens the plugs. It's all bad. It's just a constant headache to deal with that way. The other thing that I want to point out is that, on Billy's engine and my engine, they're both 9-to-1 compression, maybe low compression, 9-to-1 compression engines. And on a low compression engine, where especially if you're spraying with a standalone race gas, the race gas itself, in and of itself, requires more ignition timing than the pump gas does. Okay, the higher the octane, the slower the burn, and the more ignition timing you need. So if you've got a 9-to-1 compression engine and you're spraying 150 shot or 200 shot of nitrous on it with race gas, you know, you can't just take the old adage of, well, there's so many horsepower, you pull so many degrees. Well, you can't do that. The lower the static compression ratio is in your engine, and especially the dynamic compression ratio, which is probably even more important, but the lower the compression ratio is, the less cylinder pressure you have, and the lower the cylinder pressure, the lesser the power, obviously, but the less heat that you have. And you know, racing gas, high octane racing gas, ethanol, and methanol are a very slow burning fuel. So in order for you to light that air fuel mixture of a very slow burning fuel, you have to light that air fuel mixture a little earlier than you normally would for a pump gas application or a 87 octane gas that burns really fast. You have to light it a little bit earlier than you normally would. Unless, of course, you're a boosted application or a nitrous application. But what all that really matters is that your peak cylinder pressure occurs after top dead center a few degrees, you know, 5-6 degrees after top dead center. You don't want it to happen before top dead center or at top dead center. You want that peak cylinder pressure to occur after top dead center. Now, when you're burning pump gas in a 9-to-1 engine, and let's say it runs really good on 34 degrees, or in the Malibu's case, I run 40 degrees or 38 degrees. You're running 38 degrees timing on pump gas, and you turn 150 horse nitrous kit on. Now, if you were spraying that 150 horse with pump gas, then yes, you would definitely want to pull timing. But in the case of Billy and I, we both use 110 octane racing gas in the standalones, and that 110 octane racing gas takes more time, more ignition timing to burn it properly. So it depends on how much nitrous you're putting to the engine as to how much timing you need to pull, if you need to pull any at all. On a low compression 9.5 to 1 compression engine, such as what's in the Malibu and Billy's Mustang, when you start to put racing gas through the standalone system and you turn that on and spray racing gas through the plate or through the kit, that fuel takes a lot more time to burn. In other words, it needs more ignition timing than what you would normally need if you were spraying it on 93 octane pump gas. So the fuel in and of itself becomes an ignition retard. So I've thrown a lot of information at everybody tonight all at once. We'll talk about it in the comments. I'll read the comments and try to answer some questions in there throughout the evening and tomorrow. Tomorrow, Billy and I plan on traveling to go pick up an engine for his S10. He's been scrambling ever since that small block let go at Dragway 42 in his truck. He's been scrambling trying to get an engine together, and he's bought another block, and he's got parts coming out his ears that he could put 2 or 3 different engines together, but every combination is missing one ingredient that's made of unobtainium right now, and you just can't get all the different parts that he needs for each combination just to put one engine together. So he has located a complete running engine that runs very well, and I think we're going to run down and pick it up tomorrow. So during our trip down and back, maybe I'll have a little bit of time to answer some questions and go through the comments. So that's going to do it for tonight, guys. I'm going to wrap this video up and finish this thing up, get it uploaded. I hope you all enjoyed the video today. I know a lot of you probably weren't expecting a video today, It's not every day that I get to do back-to-back videos. It's hard for me to do that, but it just so happened today there was plenty of content and there was plenty of things to film that got filmed. And it was a really good day. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you all for the love and support, the likes and shares and subscriptions. Greatly appreciate it. And I did read a lot of the comments from yesterday, and it seems there's a lot of interest in a Nitrous Express Nitrous Kit giveaway. I called Uncle Jimmy Dale today at Nitrous Express, and he's in for a Nitrous Kit giveaway for the month of October. So every purchase made on the oldmansgarage.shop website between October 1st and October 30th automatically enters you to win a free Nitrous Express Nitrous Kit. Tell us in the comments what kit you would like to win. We're going to take entries from now until October 30th. Like I said, every purchase made on the website enters you for a chance to win. So that's going to do it for tonight, guys. Again, thank you all for the likes and shares, comments, and subscriptions. We greatly appreciate it. We'll see you all maybe Wednesday or Thursday. Shop online at theoldmansgarage.shop, and don't forget, if you want to make a purchase direct from nitrousexpress.com, use promo code OMG for 10% off your order.